Okay, great. So I will go ahead and begin again. Thank you again, Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to present again. As I was mentioning, this was quite a historic session in Annapolis this year, as we had quite a number of new legislators who joined us in Annapolis, and also had the swearing in of a new governor in Maryland. We also had a major topic regarding the budget deficit this year. As legislators began to work on the operating and capital budget, there was a structural deficit that was announced, and this was largely due to the revenue dip that was seen this year. There was a $478 million revenue dip in the state, and this led legislators to have to make some difficult decisions on which programs and projects would be funded this year. Our team ensured to monitor this very closely. As I will discuss shortly, there were a number of grant programs that the town of Colmar Manor was very interested in. So it was important for our team to monitor this daily as they made amendments so that we can notify the town if any of those programs would be affected. And I am very happy to report that some of the programs I will be discussing were supported in this year's budget. As I mentioned, there was an initiative that we were working on with the town this year, which was to help the town find some viable solutions to help alleviate some of the financial burdens that the town has been facing. We began these efforts by having a collaborative effort with Delegate Fennell, who was a great ally to the town as we advocated on this initiative during session. And with her support, we were able to facilitate a number of meetings with key members from the Department of Housing and Community Development. And they were a great help as we were looking to find some resources through the department that could help support some of the much needed projects within the town. With their support, we were able to identify some grant programs to the department that the town would be eligible for. And something that I would like to note that has definitely stood out from this process has been the immense amount of support that we have received from the department thus far. We received 2 point of contacts who have continued to provide some technical support, as Greg and I have worked on some grant programs the last few weeks, which I will discuss more very shortly. As we continue to work on this, there were also a number of bills that our team was monitoring during the session that we felt impacted the town, and it was important for us to notify you all. There were over 3,000 bills that were introduced this year, and we made sure to monitor each and every single one of them so that we could notify the town of any of the bills that we believe could impact you. There are a few bills that I would like to make note of today, with one of the most notable being Senate Bill 696, which was also cross-filed as House Bill 827. This bill is the one that establishes the Prince George's Gateway Development Authority. Our team worked very closely with the town to help advocate for this bill, and we worked with you all to help draft and distribute testimony. It was such a great pleasure to have the mayor come down to Annapolis to be able to testify on behalf of the town and as to why this bill was very important for the growth of the town in the future. As we always like to say, it's very important to be able to have someone from the town come in and be able to speak on behalf of the town, as legislators love to see a face to the people who are actually being impacted by these bills. And I am very happy to also report that this bill did pass this session, and it includes the town of Colmar Manor as one of 6 municipalities that will be able to apply for grants to help support economic development projects. So I am very happy that the town will be able to have this additional funding resource in the future. This bill will go into effect October 25th, so our team will continue to update you all as the board begins to establish and updates are released on the applications. Another bill that was notable this session that I would like to mention was the Cannabis Reform Bill. This was a bill that we were closely monitoring during session because there were several provisions that would have impacted the town. Specifically during the last few weeks, there was language that was amended that was being struck out that would remove municipalities from receiving some of the tax revenue. As soon as our team noticed this amendment, we immediately notified the town, and we were very happy to be able to receive a number of letters from various municipalities opposing this amendment. And we are very happy to report that language was added back to the final bill that would include municipalities in the tax revenue distribution. The language now states that of the 5% being distributed, 50% must go to municipalities with dispensaries located in them. So with a number of licenses going to be awarded once recreational cannabis becomes legalized starting July 1st, there is always the possibility of the town being able to have one in their jurisdiction. So we are very happy that municipalities were added back to this, as you will be affected by this bill as well. There are two other bills that I would like to briefly mention as well that we were monitoring. And these two bills establish funds that will provide grant programs that I believe could also help the town in the future. These two bills were, the first one was House Bill 751, and this establishes the Community Wellness Training Grant Fund. So this will provide grants to local law enforcement agencies to help support mental health, first aid training, as well as critical incident stress management. And the final bill that I would like to mention is Senate Bill 650, which established a $10 million fund for the State Disaster Recovery Fund. And this will provide grants to local governments to help repair, restore, and reconstruct public facilities that have been impacted by natural disasters. As we continue to work in the interim with the town, we will continue to support you all with several initiatives. As I mentioned, I have been working with Greg these past few weeks, and we've identified two programs that we will be applying for to help support the town's Green Street project, as well as the residential rehabilitation project. We also will continue to identify other grant programs through other state agencies that could also help alleviate some of that financial burden that we have discussed with the town. And lastly, I did want to also mention that our team will be reaching out very soon to schedule a meeting to discuss priorities for the town and discuss what those will be for the next legislative session. As we enter the next few months and get closer to the fall season, it will be important to have these established and begin working on strategy, as when the fall season comes and September, October rolls around, this is when legislators and state agencies will begin looking at what their priorities will be for next year. And the state agencies will also be holding their meetings with the governor to begin discussing their budgets for next year. So we do look forward to this meeting with the town to see how our team can continue to support you all during the interim. And with that, I will stop there to see if the mayor and council have any questions.
Council, are there any questions?
Thank you for the update. This is Keith Brooks, Ward 3. I believe you said it was House Bill 8227 regarding the Gateway development. With the bill going into effect on October 25th, 2023, what can the town do to help you all help us gain as much funding from that as possible?
Yes, I think that's a great question. I think it definitely in these next few months, having the town to continue to be involved as the board establishes, the mayor will have a seat on the board. So this is really great, as she will be able to speak on behalf of the town and be able to also stay up to date on some of those progresses. I do think that the next step is continuing to advocate for funding for this program. So as we begin to have those discussions as session rolls around, we really think it would be great for the town to continue to be involved and advocate with legislators on this initiative.
If I may add, Ivan Lanier from Greenwell Consulting Group. Again, great question. Additionally, what Leslie is saying is that we had spoken to the delegation, Senator Augustine, and again, a shout out to Delegate Fennell for her tireless effort in working on behalf of the citizens of Colmar Manor. We were asking this year for $10 million to fund the Gateway Arts development. Senator Augustine has said that because of the deficit, he could not fund it this year, but he would look very closely at looking at allocating some funding for next year. So it is critical that we start now, as Leslie said, and get those initiatives before the local delegation.
Thank you. So work towards those initiatives and get those to you as soon as possible.
Right.
Are there any other questions for Greenwell from council? So testifying at the legislative session in regards to the Gateway bill was super exciting. And for me, the purpose is to invigorate the business sector in the Port Towns area. And for me, as being in the Gateway, or our town being in the Gateway, it's super important that people stop here first. We are the entryway into the rest of Prince George's County. And so this gives us an opportunity to revitalize our business district and support entrepreneurs and people that want to start businesses here. And so I'm super excited about this taking place. Is there anything else included in that bill? So can you give people who are listening anything that we may have missed in regards to explaining what this bill is about?
Yes, so as I mentioned, this bill will support a number of economic development projects. There aren't any very specific details on what those projects are, other than some criteria. So for example, some transportation projects could be supported by this. They also emphasize that they want projects that would benefit the residents overall. So that will have a big emphasis on which projects they approve.
It also, the bill does state that we are eligible for passage of this legislation. We're eligible to apply for funds from the county and state. So, we're currently talking to the Maryland Department of Environment. They have some funding for some environmental and justice grants. So if we are successful in advocating for those and get a possible grant award, that could also go towards the Gateway Revenue Authority for them to manage those funds. And as Leslie said, the town of Colmar Manor does have a seat on that board. So as those funds come through that board, we'll have a say-so on how those funds get allocated for revitalization projects in the town.
Yeah, so just to maybe also lay the groundwork so people have a better understanding, we have a Port Town CDC. The Port Town CDC is supposed to include all the port towns. It's defunct right now. And their sole purpose is to support the development of our communities. So when Mr. Lanier and Greenwell brought this up, I thought, this is amazing. We need this because there's a gap and this is an opportunity for us. So what I'm looking forward to doing is, again, just thinking through how we can increase revenue for our town, but then how we can revitalize the business sector in our town, and how we can make this a part of the greater Port Towns. Because we as mayors for the Port Towns are talking about this. We're tired of people overlooking the area. So we want to make sure that people see us and see the potential and see the beauty of where we live. So that's kind of the whole thinking in the background behind all of this. Awesome. If there are no other questions, then I think we're good. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
And also, Council, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that we have Ms. Dolores here, who's our health worker. So I'm going to ask her to talk after, well, who do we have after Bates? We have Red Speed. So maybe if I can push her, yeah, okay, it won't be very long. So Ms. Dolores, can you please come up and introduce yourself and introduce the program?
Okay, Monica, I will talk to you tomorrow. Okay. My name is Dolores. I am a CHW, which is the community health worker. I am also employed through PG County Health Department. We are introducing a new program. It's a free program to introduce resources to the community in Colmar Manor. I was really excited when I first was told that I would be coming here because this is a health resources and also information about COVID-19. My job is to make sure the residents of Colmar Manor be updated on all the new resources that are available to them and how to empower them in their community and how they can use them. So basically, that's what the program is all about. It's called CHIS, and I'm really excited about it. Any questions?
Thank
Well,
you.
yeah, so I actually just shared the flyer on our screen. But the way that this came about, we have a holistic life, what's the name of the center, Dr. Betty Center? A holistic life center. And so I started having conversations with Dr. Betty and she asked me, well, what do you need? What do you need help with in the town? And I said, I need to connect our residents to health resources. And she pretty much said, I got you. That's all she said. She's like, I got you. 2 months later, we have Dolores. So what we're doing right now is we're asking residents to complete a health survey. So this is to determine the social determinants of health of our community. So we are asking everyone to complete this survey. I'm not sure if we have any out there, but we'll probably email it out and you'll probably be approached by me and hopefully one of your council people to complete this survey. After you complete the survey, Ms. Dolores calls you and asks you if you want to be a part of the program. When you say yes, she adds you to the program and they start sending you text messages that are tailored to you on what your needs are. So if you need furniture, if you need health insurance, if you need to find a way to pay bills, she is collecting or making contact with all of those different resources to send that to you directly. So that's the purpose of Ms. Dolores being here. And you can call her, you can come to the office. She's in the front office. You can come and talk to her and she'll help you as much as possible. Am I correct?
Oh, yes. You're right on point, Monica. You got it. Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we're so grateful to have you and just thank you for being here. And for anyone that's listening, and even if people are not here, share this with your neighbors. We have an opportunity here. We have a health worker in the office that we're not paying for. We're not paying for her.
Could you, thank you, Ms. Dolores, thank you so much. Could you specify what services health services specifically do you provide to the community? That was one question. And then after I reviewed Eileen's survey, I was a bit confused because now you're saying it's a health survey, but then I looked and it was all about, your economic situation, maybe some others. So I was a bit confused, like where this, I understand the part where it's like you cannot pay for your health insurance. That's when the intersection comes in. But then, I felt like the survey was maybe a different type of survey. I'm not at this point. I wasn't even sure if it's the same survey that you're referring to. So, yeah, if you could just maybe comment on the type of services that you provide.
Well, the service is really wide, depending on the community. I do, I'm able to connect with any kind of health resources because a lot of people aren't really updated about some of the needs they might need or how to talk to the doctor to find out information about things that they need to be doing. A lot of time we go to our physicians and we kind of in and out and don't really understand why we're taking this medication, why it's necessary. I do help with that also to build that information to them, excuse me, to make sure that they are understanding some of the reason why they are required to take the medication on time, what it does for you if you don't take it. I'm not a physician. I make sure that let them know I'm not the doctor, but I can also help them understand some of the wordings that are spoken to them when they come down to their medication.
And I think maybe to address your question a little bit more, Irina, is so health isn't just a traditional sense of the word health. It's not just talking to your doctor. So health entails everything. So the social determinants of health include your job, include your housing situation, includes whether you have insurance or not, includes your relationship status. So these are all the social determinants of your health.
Mhm.
What Ms. Dolores is doing is obviously, yes, in the traditional sense, connecting you to health resources. But in addition to that, if you need food,
Yes,
she will provide you with food. If you need furniture, she will provide you with furniture. So these are all, it's a holistic approach to what health actually
yes,
is.
it's a connection.
Yeah.
All this is,
Yeah.
all that is built into that community connection that make you for dealing with health. Health is not just the word health. Oh, she did that.
Right, I understand.
I-
Like, it
Mhm.
didn't ask, the survey didn't even ask, like, do you walk or do you, I believe, and how many times do you go for a walk or do you exercise? I don't know, maybe there were
So,
a few
yeah,
questions.
so from the
that's why we-
administrative side of things,
Yeah.
we shortened the survey a lot. That's why we're asking people to fill out what's there, and Dolores will call you to finish it. Because the survey, if we published it, if I printed it, we're gonna be spending a lot on paper. And so it's not necessarily an online survey because there's gonna be questions that don't apply to everyone. And there's gonna be questions that could apply to everyone. So that's why we took some of the questions out, simplified it to gather some of the basic info that they need for their information. But then they input more into it, into the system, and that goes to the county then for their end of things. So
Sure.
there are definitely more questions. That's just the basic to get you started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, because, I had that disconnect when I looked at. And so if I may ask you, Ms. Dolores, so let's say a person in our community does not have health insurance and they need to see a doctor. So what are the steps that you'd be taking to connect them that with the resources that are available to them?
First, I would find out if it's an emergency. Is it something that they need within the next 24 or 48 hours? Because sometimes health is necessary that they don't have access to get to the doctor or where they can go. Sometimes they don't have for instance, they might be illegal. We have access for people that can go get their health care to take care of their needs. The steps is first find out what is needed and what they need to go. Are they transportation problems? Are there family problems? Are they not able to understand communication? We do have translators that people will come out and help them and take them to these walk-in clinics and help translate a lot of things for them and help them out. So we do provide a wide world of things, depends on what's needed at that time.
Thank you. And a follow-up question.
Mhm.
So how many people have you had so far from our community coming to you or calling you, or maybe like if you have any statistics, have you helped already? Thank you.
Well, so far, since we're new into this community, I only reached 4 people so far. Okay, my plan is we are scheduled to go out, meeting with my coworkers that's fluent in Spanish, so that we can meet the community needs for your residency and introduce this free health program for them. Once we make that connection, I'm quite sure we will make quite a few. We do contact them at that time, go do the let me call it the tally sheet that we do have to make sure that we have everything that they need and sign them up. It's free. It's not invasive. Their privacy is always there. And if they feel like they're not comfortable with it, they're able to tell us, okay, I'm no longer going to be part of this program. And that'll be it. So it's a program that is building that connection into the communities and find out so they can be able to use those resources and understand where the resources at and where to find them at.
I want to also add and thank Compare Foods allowed us and offered the store to table out front of the stores. Customers are coming in and out.
Yes.
We were supposed to go do it last Friday, but the smoke, the fires, and it was very hot too. So we just decided that was probably not a good idea to go out there and do it that day. But that's an opportunity then to meet people as they're coming in and out, to connect with them with the flyer, and maybe do the basic survey, the follow up later, or do the whole survey if they want to do the whole survey. But that was on the schedule. So.
Mhm.
So I actually have a goal of getting 20 people registered by August. And so this is where I need the council's help. So I need you to talk to your neighbors, and I need you to find those people that'll help spread the word. So once we get the word out, and actually Dolores is sitting right in the front of the office with us, so that anytime anyone comes into the office, I want to introduce them to Dolores. So anytime anyone is around me, I'm like, you got to meet Dolores. And so that's my hope. That's the goal. And then from there, we'll see how many more we can get. But the push is happening now to get people to meet you and for you to register people.
Mhm.
And again, just a big thank you to Dr. Betty and a big thank you to HDI and Prince George's County for allowing you to be here at no charge to the town.
Well, I can truly say the people that I have met, they have been really happy with my work with them, the communication, because a lot of, they are receiving emails, they are receiving the texts and information that they would normally would receive from me, and they are sending me thank you notes about it. So I'm quite sure we should be successful here.
Thank you, Ms. Dolores.
Thank you, Mr. Dolores.
You are.
Could I
Okay,
rec-
so.
Could I recommend, if it's not already on the marquee, to maybe put a blurb of that on the marquee? All right. Thank you.
Okay, so next up is, do we have Bates on the line? Because Bates is on the agenda. Okay, so I'm just gonna go straight to Red Speed. So what are we doing with Red Speed?
Yes. So Erwin's right here. Okay, so as you all know, over the last many months, we've gone, even prior to my coming on, you had all talked about Red Speed and possibly working with them to do speed cameras on Bladensburg Road. Part of the holdup was we had looked at the contracts. At the time, Mr. Barr, the town attorney, was looking at the contract to make sure that there weren't conflicts in it in regards to our current red light camera that is with a different company, and also just to review the contract. In the meantime, well, at the time, the council wanted to move forward with the contract, but we wanted it reviewed. Since then, Mr. Barr hurt himself, ended up resigning. We had to find a new town attorney. That's held up the project from that point. We then asked for the contract back, held it up again because we had questions over the speed camera and being able to put it on Bladensburg Road due to question with state law and the codification, which is going to be an issue that we're going to be working with Greenwell on to address, and I hope to address in the next upcoming session to really clarify that section of the code, but that's a different side note. In the interim, the discussions with Red Speed is that, and Erwin, please feel free to correct me if I say this wrong, but there's two steps to this process. One is the contract, just saying we want to work with you. And then there's the second part of the process is actually doing the application for the speed cameras and the location. In that conversation too, Chief Stone, myself, and the police force, we kind of discussed we should probably put up another red light camera down at the other end of the business district. So we only have the one over by the shopping center. We should put one closer down towards McDonald's at the end of. So we've added that into the contract. So whether or not we go forward or can go forward with the speed cameras, we were interested from the administrative side to and public safety side to put another red light camera on Bladensburg Road. The contract has been reviewed by the town attorney. There's no issues with our current contract with the current provider of the speed cam or the red light camera. If we determine when that contract is over and we like what Red Speed's doing, we can then, because we have a contract, simply just roll it over and convert the current camera over to Red Speed as well. That's 3 years down the road, but still, that is a possibility. So what you have before you is simply a contract, does not cost us anything. It is simply to get us moving forward to even do an application to put the speed cameras. So with that, they are taking on, by us signing it and them doing the application, they're taking on some expenses of having to do some engineering and citing, the application itself, the permitting through the state and the county. And then to determine whether or not we can put the cameras in the locations that we want to put them. So that's kind of where we're at. What I added, the one or the two sheets of paper that I added were the emails from today. Mr. Baden had a couple questions regarding if the term should be 3 or 5 years, a customer service fee with no amount listed, and he had a concern over the flat fee that was proposed that would potentially cost us money if it wasn't sufficient from the citations. And so Red Speed has offered the fee issue was a 99-cent fee. That's standard to them. It just was left off. So that was corrected. The 3 to 5 years is really not an issue simply because what does it say? That either party can terminate the contract within 60 days. Yeah, so there's the termination clause already in there. So whether it's 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, there's a termination clause in there already. But after 1 year, because there's still the 1 year because they have to recoup costs for the expenses they're putting out. And then the last one was that they're still going to keep track of the fee to see if it's going over or under the $4,100 a month in citations. But at the end of it, they're waiving, at the end of the month, they're waiving whatever if we don't make up that difference, they're waiving it. So there's zero cost to the town if we do not meet that $4,100 in citations each month. So that satisfied Mr. Baden's questions.
So that's what, just for the year or just?
Period.
Period?
Yeah.
As long as we have the contract with them?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So I will open it up to you all if you have questions. Mr. Lanier's here to answer anything in person, and Mr. Super's on the phone or on the Zoom. Yes. Mr. Super said Irwin's the guy, so.
Well, I'd like to introduce myself to those who don't know me. I'm the state program director for Red Speed, Maryland. We have a hands-on approach. I've visited often here. I know the building and the scope of what's necessary to move Colmar Manor forward in regards to making the citizens safer, which is a primary goal. And out of that, we want to be known as the town that don't come here, right? I mean, you put that out there and people understand that. And it's a reason why people slow down in certain towns and don't in others. And you guys have progressed at this point to make sure that you're one of the towns that are preeminent in regards to making people safer. So if you have any questions, myself and one of my principals, Bob Super, is on the line. I guess I'm old by saying on the line, but he's connected to Zoom.
I said on the phone. So
And you said on
yeah,
the phone.
so don't feel bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to add one more thing, just as not that it's related specifically to the contract, because citing is going to come out of this, but the idea is to mimic Cottage Cities. Cottage City is using Red Speed right now. And so their 2 locations on Bladensburg have already been approved by the state. So the thought is to simply put them across the street, but as close as possible so that they're mimicking each other and for approval's sake.
Correct.
Councilmember Harding, just for the audience here to get a scope of this, after us signing this contract, how long does it take for the engineering as well as the building, or what's that process like?
Right. So what's most important is the buy-in from the particular town that we've agreed with. That buy-in means that if we need right away, if we need that support, we take on the goal of commissioning and I guess permitting electrical. We call that's not much of your concern at all. The delay in that process would be them responding back to us. What's nice is that the hands-on approach in which I'm able to take reports and take acknowledgements from door to door within the county, if there's a county, or even with the state. So we have that personal attention and we're on the top of the pile. We then get them to respond back to us. So our standard installation from beginning of the contract to the end, I like to say 120 to 150 days. And that's a fair assessment. In many cases, we've been able to arrive within 100 days or less. But in this case, I always like to underpromise and overperform, if you will. So, and I also do updates as well. So I'll be able to come to meetings monthly or quarterly, however you deem it necessary to come through and to give you updates about what's needed and what's going on. The Chief Stone has been, I know him very well through our phone calls, and he's been very transparent. And so have we with him.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So on page 4, it talks about the providing a fixed speed cameras, mobile speed bands with speed cameras, traffic control signals. At this time, town administrator, have we decided what we're interested in, or we're just, to your point, to the first point, we're just trying to assess whether or not we want to do the contract to work with Red Speed?
Correct. So the first step is whether or not we want to go with Red Speed or not. Second, and I should add, I guess, I hope this is helpful. I should add they're also in, well, I don't want to speak for chief, but when Red Speed approached, they did approach the town and said, hey, we have this new program. This is what we're doing. You know, he did reach out to other vendors, including our current one, that did not want to take on the speed cameras, which by law, we believe we are allowed to put on Bladensburg Road. But for whatever reason, their capacity, whatever their interest was not there to work with us. So that's why we continued going down the path with the one company, just to be clear and transparent, but also they're a leader in the space. So that's kind of the big thing that kept me going with them. So the thought process is 2 speed cameras and 1 red light camera. That's what we're interested in right now. They do have other capabilities, but by having the contract in place, it gives us that option to add those other capabilities. One of those capabilities is actually in Town Hall. It's actually just within our own camera system that we have, or upgrading the cameras within Town Hall. And that would be underneath this contract. So it's kind of I don't want to call it an a la carte menu, but it's kind of a menu of sorts.
It's a suite, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah,
that would be a
yeah.
better word. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then on the page 6, second paragraph, it's more or less about so Article 2, accord to competent jurisdiction determines the results of the speed Red speed monitoring system and or automated traffic law enforcement system are inadmissible in evidence, or the compensation provisions set forth in Exhibit C. So to that question, how often do these go to court? How often do people, I guess, object to it, to that stance? And how often do you all win?
Those are great questions, and I can attest to both of them. Give you an example, we have a vendor that has an excess of 4,500 citations a month. Again, our hands-on approach is that I actually attend court with the officer with an evidence package, as well as they are also provided one. And with 4,500, we had 13 people arrive to disagree with the situation. And 12 out of the 13 were found guilty. And it's only through evidence. That's it. The testimony is strictly evidence. It's evidentiary, it's factual. So court-wise, I go to court once a week for different jurisdictions. And in this case, you'd probably go to court every 60 days. And we set the court docket. So we have relationships with all 8 districts, with all the court clerks. We set the dockets so that they're commensurate with the police officer's schedule. So we try to make sure it's first thing in the morning versus 11 and 1 p.m. after they've worked midnight. and then we present, and then we continue on. So yeah, we're very consistent with that. Our error rate with our cameras, the standard is around 4 to 5%, and our error rate is less than 1.3%. So we're very factual and very accurate. Actually, we're the most accurate in the industry.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And then follow up on that. On the evidence package, is that included in page 32, the post citation tasks and services 649 per unit for digital evidence?
That's not, that is what we do. That's
Okay.
what I'm talking about is no charge.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
If I can piggyback on that, just 1 second about, we currently have a red light camera, and in that one, a civilian can approve the citations, and that Mr. Wells does that, or our clerk does that. In the speed camera, it has to be a police officer. It's just a little bit different in how that's handled. And in, I guess, our red light, they do provide a package that he takes to court. He does not get summoned to court very often. On most of the red light tickets are paid, and I don't know what the percentage are for
Yeah.
speed tickets.
I'm pretty sure it's pretty high.
I have a question because I'm a numbers person, meaning I like to see money coming into the town.
Sure.
So how much is Cottage City making?
That would be, so I would rather we wait until they have a meeting tomorrow, and their report will be out then, and that
Okay.
will be a full 30 days, and you have a much accurate assumption of what's made. I don't want to project,
Okay,
but I know they're doing very well. Again, they've been installed almost 60 days plus now. So we've worked all of the fee structures and all those types of things. They have to make sure that they're connected correctly with town administrators and the finances and those kind of things. So tomorrow's record of finances will be very, very accurate in what they could project going forward. I
And
don't have
then-
no problem with, I'll make sure that I respond back to you.
please.
I will.
And then how are you going to be working with our office? Like, how are you going to be working with our town administrator, with the chief? Like, is there anything that we need to prepare for this?
Right, so I mostly deal with our engineers throughout the state in regards to, the commissioning or the installation. If I need a right of way, then I'm gonna call the town manager and I'm gonna need a right of way. If I'm gonna need in some cases, some letterhead to go to State Highway Association, we'll actually help draft that letter and then coordinate with the town manager to make sure that they get it in a timely manner, so it doesn't delay us with so much.
What are the next steps?
The next step would be to make a motion to authorize me to sign this contract.
So I'd like to request a motion to authorize the town administrator to sign the contract with all of these edits, correct?
Correct.
Just one more. So on that $4,100 flat fee, it
Mhm.
would be waived if we don't hit that citation number, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that because currently right now from the treasurer's report, we have generated 25,547 from our red light camera violations.
Mhm.
And the cost was a total of basically 7,000. So almost year to date, or from 2022 July to May of 2023, we've only generated 18,601. So just making sure that we generate the money like the mayor said.
Yeah, as Mr. Beta noted in his question was that currently we're not bringing in half of the amount needed to cover that, but that's why we asked for the fee waiver. Correct. They agreed.
All right, that's it.
Councilmember Harden, I'd like to make the motion to approve of the town administrator signing the contract with Red Speed.
Councilmember Hobbs, second it.
So I'm gonna open this up for discussion. Is there any discussion?
bring us the money
And provide the safety.
and provide the safety. You're right, yes.
I mean, that's the whole goal, the safety, duh. Okay, so if there is no discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Okay, so it sounds like the ayes have it. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, and actually, I want to thank Red Speed for your donation to the Maryland Black Mayors. We really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in Ocean City.
You will, for sure. Thank you so much.
Okay, so is there Bates trucking on or no? Okay. So the next up on the agenda is the consent agenda. So under the consent agenda, we have the approval of minutes, of which currently there are none ready for approval. We have the department operation reports, which includes the town administrator report, the treasurer's report, public safety, code compliance, public works, committee, board, commission, and task force reports, none at the moment. So are there any questions on any of these reports?
I would like to add 2 items to the Public Works report that I failed to add to it. One is assisting a resident at 3800 Orange Street with weeds that are intruding from Newton Street Park into their yard. It's Maryland National Capital Park and planning property. It's an invasive weed, but the resident requested any assistance, even if it was just reaching out to the parks to have them more weeded out. And so instead, I just sent Public Works to go down, weed whack as far as they could get in, to keep it away from their property. And then that was step 1. The resident said that was amazing. That's awesome. Thank you. And I said, step 2, we're going to talk to Maryland Capital Park and Planning. So it's what we did wasn't a permanent solution, and they understood that, but they were happy for the time being. And then Public Works assisted with removing bulk trash that was at the dueling grounds, which included 3 tires, a mattress, and a projection screen. Very large metal projection screen that happened to be there next to the floor tiles, which are coming up next or sometime this week. So just wanted to add those to that because I forgot.
Okay, so any questions or anything that wants to be brought up in regards to the consent agenda?
I think it would be,
So on the town administrator's report, there was a resident that came up to me regarding a representative in their yard for the, I guess, the Green Street survey. Is there a way that we could maybe put that on the marquee as well, just to let residents know that someone may be in their yard doing surveying and kind of just give more communication?
We can.
Or
The only
any other
reason,
solution?
yeah, the only reason I'm hesitating on that is they don't necessarily tell us. So I know I received a call today, and that was my notification from a resident. That was my notification that the survey crew was out. And I don't necessarily know that the engineering firm knows when they're going out, because it's a external surveying crew that's doing the topographical survey for them. So I'll try to see if the engineering firm can give me a little better heads up on that, because that would be nice to know, like, when they're going to be in town, just so people don't think someone's being creepy in their front yard.
Correct. And then it says the codification goes the next couple of months. So if I was trying to create a booklet for Ward 3 residents, when could I expect the completed codes to send to them?
Sorry, it's a difficult question for a couple of reasons. One, technically speaking, so we do have, we have not sent them to you, but as Chief Stone promised, we would have the parking done by the work session, and we did. And then I did not send it to you, so that is my fault. But Chief did come through with that. We can update all that, at least having the ordinances available for view. The codification is separate, though. That's still going through kind of a legal review. So when that's done is determinant on how fast we can answer the questions. There's over 100 questions that they have. Some are simple punctuations or missing words. Some of them are, this is what state law allows you to do, but you're only doing it this much. So I'm currently reviewing a lot of that. Mr. Baden's reviewed a lot of it from his standpoint and offered suggestions to, especially in things like clearing up the audit committee and the check signing committee. There's some conflict there that was pointed out. The parking ordinance has actually not been sent to them, so they still have to review that. But the contract ends, I want to say in August or September. However, it doesn't necessarily end until the code's done. So the goal was to have it done by August, but they continue on under the sum that we've paid them until it's finished. And so in that process, just for the public and your understanding, is once we answer all those questions, clarify anything that needs to be clarified, you technically can add things to it as well, because in the end, what they do is the entire code is presented as one ordinance, and then you all vote on that one ordinance, and it allows the community then an opportunity to take it back out for petition, to vote against anything. So my goal is not to do anything dramatic in it. If there is something where we see a major conflict, I would bring that to you in a work session over the next couple months to say, this is a huge conflict. Which way do you want to go with it? These are our suggestions of what we want to do.
Okay, so at this moment,
Or secondary thing is, if you have a conflict that you see in the code that you think needs to be a major change, instead of doing a separate ordinance for each one, we could actually work it in and have the code people check it through the entirety of the code to make sure it doesn't conflict with anything now while we're paying them instead of after the fact, and then it's finding out years later that there was a huge conflict. So if there is something that you're interested in changing, this would be a time to do it. So as I noted in my report, one of the things that one of the first weeks that Mr. Rosales pointed out to me doing code enforcement was that we don't have an open storage ordinance, which is a huge problem for him to actually cite people. We were citing them basically for littering by having too much junk in their yard. But if you're storing building materials and it's exposed and out, that's an open storage issue, and many communities have an open storage ordinance. So that's something we can work into the codification process without having to do the whole advertising and ordinance and adding those extra expenses to the process. So welcome to all ideas, but my goal is by August.
and until that date, utilize what's on the website.
And yes, I'll update it with the best we have available. Yeah, we'll make it better than what it is.
Thank you. I just want to say kudos for Public Works on having a report this month. Great job.
Chief, was there any notable or significant crimes inside the town that you felt or you feel would be good to update our residents with?
I think the most notable one, well, there's a couple of other ones. Although not in town, just outside of town, in the cemetery. You may have seen it on the news a couple of weeks ago that there was an attempt carjacking and a carjacking. While there's an attempt carjacking, the police come to investigate that. While they're investigating that, there's a carjacking. They saw the vehicle and pursued it out on the Bladensburg Road into Bladensburg. Colmar Manor got involved, and we assisted with the apprehension. So there was an arrest in that. But the incident didn't happen in Colmar Manor, but just a stone's throw away. Unfortunately, that serious type of incident did not happen in town this month. We did have a residential burglary, which is very unusual in Colmar Manor. First one that I can remember in my 3 years here as chief of police. It's 300 block of 40th Place. Someone came home and found someone exiting their house. No injuries, no property stolen, no arrests. And we did have an arrest of a subject carrying a handgun in town. There was an adult male. Those are probably the most significant during the month. All those are, every report police report that's taken in Colmar Manor is listed in here. So all those.
Thank you, Chief.
This isn't the resident speaking time.
To the public safety report. So 58% of our incidents relate to traffic stops, 911 disconnects, suspicious auto, disorderly premise check, and property alarm commercial. A resident came up to me today and provided me a video of a white SUV in the 3400 block of 41st Avenue, dropping off males, couldn't tell the age, but they were younger males, and they were checking car doors to see if they were unlocked. What can we do to assist that resident and provide more safety?
Call us when it's occurring. It's fine that I don't know that we had any calls for that, but it's probably one of the most common things that I hear about in town is that somebody look out and say, I see somebody going down the street pulling on car doors. And you'll see that they don't go in the ones that are locked. So I guess the best crime prevention recommendation I can make out of that is to lock your car doors. People are folks, I'll call them the fellows, walk down the street, pull on the car door. They find one open, they'll go in and go through the glove box and take whatever's at handy. We don't have, at least in the residential area, they're not breaking windows and getting in the cars. They're just pulling on now in the shopping center, we do have an occasional where they break a window and take whoever's on the seat. From those videos and stuff, if you could share them with us, we'll see if we can recognize who they are. Our officers stopped a person in doing the exact same thing and was a resident of the town. So I don't know if it's outsiders coming in or folks that live in town.
So when you say call them, should they call our police department or the non-emergency number?
Non-emergency, even 911 if it's like a theft in progress, 911 is the appropriate number to call. If it's to report something that happened earlier or an item gets stolen, you need the police, the non-emergency number is fine. When in doubt, call 911. They'll figure it out on the other end and put it in the right direction, dispatch it appropriately.
So they should call that non-emergency number. However, at the town level, how difficult would it be to maybe for the next week, put a car at the end where the Legion is around 6 o'clock?
Very difficult this week because our 2 cars are at shop. So only that this week, probably not after this week when you have more wheels rolling than perhaps.
Once we get the maintenance. Thank you.
So I just wanted to also say that like I monitor Nextdoor and the comments that people put on Facebook in regards to safety. And so there was someone that said that their car got smashed into. I have to look at the Nextdoor comment, but I told them to reach out to us, especially for one of these clubs. But again, I'm just going to echo what you're saying is just call the police. People are becoming accustomed to coming up to me or coming up to council members after the fact. And it's like, call the police if you see it happening. So I called the police this weekend, actually. I called the non-emergency line and I'm happy that, that you saw the log. I didn't tell you it was me, but it was me. And so I'm calling the non-emergency line and I'm telling everyone, call the non-emergency line. And I think one of the things that we can do is support our police department more because there have been some discussions about maybe cutting down on the amount of police officers that we have. I'm not for that, but that's one thing that we can do. We can support our police department more if we want to see less crime, to have them go around more. So, yeah.
So I want to add one thing for the public too. Nextdoor specifically, I know that's often used. My neighborhood, people complain about, and I live over in District Heights, they complain about crimes left and right and property damage and litter and you name it on Nextdoor. Our Nextdoor account as a government entity, we're allowed to post, we're not allowed to read. We don't see any of those posts and I can't unless I live here. So you can't even make up a name because you have to verify the address. So the best thing to do is to contact those phone numbers or email the town hall, info@colmarmanor.org. You can email me, you can email, the the police department, you can call the non-emergency line. Posting on Nextdoor is not reporting a problem. Posting on Facebook, not reporting a problem.
Okay. So are there any other discussions or questions in regards to the consent agenda? Okay, so I'd like to request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Councilmember Hobbs makes that motion stated.
Councilmember Brooks seconds it.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, thank you. So next up is the mayor's report. And then after that, we have the council member reports and concerns. Mr. Rufus, don't forget your question, okay? Don't forget your question, because I know that you wanted to ask the chief a question. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to say is congratulations to all of the graduates in our community. Congratulations on graduating. Just as a reminder that we have gift cards. You stop by the town hall, you live in town, you graduated, I'll give you a gift card. Also, congratulations to all those kids that have been promoted. Congratulations, continue on to higher education. And then congratulations to all the participants that were a part of the English class that we hosted at the town hall. We're looking at doing that again and possibly partnering up with Prince George's Community College or University of Maryland. We'll see where we go with that. The next thing I wanted to kind of report out on was the celebration of Pride. So I want to thank everyone who came to celebrate Pride. So we had Delegate Fennell here, Senator Augustine, Councilmember Ivy, Vice Mayor Amy Fry, the Mayor of Edmondson, Mayor Gant, and her town administrator, Rod Barnes. We had Mayor Selena Benitez. She's the mayor of Mount Rainier. We had former council member Doug Bowles come out. So it was a really beautiful morning. Melinda was here. I think Melinda was here. So, and did Irina come? No, I think it might have just been Melinda. So it was a beautiful morning. And then later on that day, we also had an ice cream social, which was a lot of fun at the basketball court close to the Anacostia River. I had attended the Green Team, and I just want to give a huge amount of kudos to Sal, who's the newest lead on the Green Team. Obviously, former Mayor Barrow is on there, but I'm just excited about all the discussions that they're having and how we're moving forward with this. As far as events that we've had, we also had a Spades night. Miss Williams, you didn't come to the Spades night. You gotta come to the next one. I'm also super excited. I had talked to, I forgot who I spoke to, but oh yes, Carolyn Blunt, who was the organizer of the senior club back in like March or February. I asked her if she would go ahead and start it up again, and she said yes. And so slowly but surely, we've started up the senior club again. And actually, Ms. Washington, Linda Washington, who works in the front office along with Ms. Blue, hosted a meeting today, and I think there were like 15 people there, maybe more at least. Yeah. So that's super exciting to see the senior club up and going again. I also wanted to congratulate Mayor Pro Tem Melinda Mendoza again as being the mayor of the PGCMA. I'm super proud of her, and I love seeing you in action and in that leadership role. I'm learning a lot from you. I am also an at-large board member for the PGCMA, which is super exciting. Chief Stone received an Outstanding Community Service Award from End Time Harvest Ministries. So congratulations to Chief Stone. I have a photo, I'll pull it up and I'll share it on the screen so you all could see Chief Stone with his award. I have received some complaints from a resident in Ward 1 about trash pickup, yard waste, and the parking situation in Ward 1. So I'm going to mention it again, and I'm going to put this on us to move it forward. And I think if Red Speed is still on, just so that they can hear it, I'm looking at parking meters for people who don't live in our town. I think that's another way to generate revenue, and we need them, especially in Ward 1 around this town hall, for people who take up our parking spots and are not paying to be here. And the same thing goes for the other end of town. We are very grateful to the Eritrean Church. They have a huge parking lot, and somehow the street behind the parking lot also gets filled up. So I'm looking at installing meters there, and then obviously at the Larissy lot. So that's an idea that I've been floating around, but I think come the fall, we're gonna really push hard to see how we can deal with that, and also parking, like parking ordinance stuff. We have the Juneteenth event. I'll let Councilmember Harding talk about that. On the 23rd of June, we are going to be having a map event in our town hall. So I'm basically taking over most of the gym downstairs, and we are creating a giant map of the town. And this is an opportunity for families to come out, make their mark on the map, color in their house, but also to have a discussion. And this is a visioning exercise to see what we want to see in our town. You want street lighting, you want speed bumps, you want to talk more about the cat issue in our community, you want to talk about the Anacostia Heritage Trail that's coming through our town, want to talk about the Lyracy lot. This is it. So we're going to be having it once a month over the summer, and then the 23rd is the first one that we're having. So I hope everyone who's here tonight will be here on the 23rd, which is Friday at 7 p.m. in the gym. We're gonna have different groups be there to answer any questions you have as well. So it's gonna be a very interesting night and an interesting summer to talk about our town. Oh yes, we also made the Banner City. So thank you to everyone that's helped us be a part of Banner City. We were awarded Banner City through the Maryland Municipal League. And then I have some reminders. So I'm going to share my screen now. Let's see. Oh. A second. Sorry, I'm looking for our, here we go. So these are some friendly reminders if you didn't see them in our newsletter, okay? The 4th of July is coming up. We talked about it at our work session, but we want to get ahead of this holiday. Just want to remind everyone that fireworks are illegal, including sparklers. So if you see someone else using fireworks, please call the non-emergency dispatch phone number. You should not be using fireworks. If you want to go see fireworks, they're going to have them at the Bladensburg waterfront. The other thing that is a little concerning to me is that I see the trash receptacles, the public trash receptacles full of household garbage. That's a no-no. There's a reason why we have a garbage company. They come, they pick that up. You should not be putting garbage in the public trash receptacles. The other thing that I've been hearing a lot about and that I've seen are cones. People are using cones to reserve their parking spots. That's a huge no-no. We do not own those parking spots in front of our homes. If you don't have a driveway, please find the best spots that are close to your home. But no, you cannot reserve these parking spots on the street. You cannot be rude to your neighbors about those parking spots. These are public parking spots within our town. The other thing is loud music. I know that the weather is getting warmer. People like to have parties. Just please be respectful of your neighbors. I like music. I don't want to hear it while I'm watching TV. I don't want to hear it at 1 in the morning. I'm sure no one else here wants to hear it either. So please be respectful of your neighbors. And just as a reminder, if you have yard waste, put it in the brown paper bags. If you don't have brown paper bags, just take a garbage can that you're no longer using and put a big X on it, and they'll pick it up with the regular waste, which is on Mondays. And we have a code enforcement officer now, so if you're not sure whether you need a permit or not to build something on your property, call us. Just call us, and we'll try to get you an answer as soon as possible. And I think, oh, and I just want to say thank you again to the town and to all the residents for allowing us to go to Ocean City for the Maryland Municipal League. I'll make sure to have a report out to everyone once we get back. We're not going to be meeting in August. We're not going to have a meeting in August. We're not going to have a town meeting. Our last one is, we're going to only have one in July. We're going to take August off. We may do some professional development amongst ourselves to better run these meetings and to work better with each other. But we will not be having a town meeting. And that's pretty much it for me. So I'll turn it over to the council.
Gotta be dramatic. No, Councilmember Harding, Ward 1. Good evening, everyone. I'll be short with mine as well. I've started going around with Chief Stone, and we're making our rounds through Ward 1, just to, one, show the representative in Ward 1, as well as show your chief and build on police relationships in the town, but as well to give out information. And from our first walkthrough, I was approached by said resident about the parking. I feel like this is a vital opportunity in really connecting with our neighbors in our community as far as where police and where your elected officials stand. But going into the parking situation, it was definitely made aware to me by this resident that his safety is at their safety, I already said it, is at jeopardy because they work at a later hour of the night and they're forced to park at a very far distance from their home. And I'll say it up front, I told them I would feel better if you parked in the parking lot of the town hall where there's lights and you can see, everything around you and walk safely to your house, because I was made aware by another resident that there's a lighting issue that they felt right here coming up to the town hall, just that little gap between 37th up to here on Lawrence. It's a little dark for them. But yeah, just be aware of your neighbors and what you're using as far as capacity and space and parking. We all share the parking here. There's a lot of people that have 4, 5, 6 cars inside their house, and just be considerate of the fact that there's another person using that parking. Continuing forth, go to Juneteenth. This Friday, the 16th, from 6 to 9, we'll be having our Juneteenth event at Larcy Park, right there next to Taco Bell. It's going to be a great time and joyous. We're going to have trivia. We're going to have some treats. We're going to have some live music. I mean, like a live band. We haven't had that in a while here. And yeah, I just want to take the time to commemorate and honor the day. It's a day of celebration, and I would love to see all of you there. And that's really my report. That's all I have.
Councilmember Hobbs, Ward 2 report. Would like to commend Mr. Rosales, our code enforcement officer, for investigating some of their complaints that I received from the residents. He took a prompt action and had subsequent follow-up actions and until the issue has been remediated and the household was brought into compliance. So I really like seeing this, like how he took on the jobs and the complaints and tried to resolve them. So I applaud to that, to all the efforts that he has done. And also thank you for bringing that point that we do not have an open storage ordinance. So I know back, a few days back in the days, I know we have had like a town like guidebook or like welcoming to the community, and there was something stated in there, but it's like the rules, but I understand that code enforcement officer cannot enforce the rules without citing an ordinance. So that's something we need to definitely work on in the future on this ordinance. So that's wonderful that he is giving us that information, because he has experience working with other towns. And so that's what we're missing, and we don't know what we're missing. And so that's wonderful. So yes, that's one thing I would like to mention, but also would like to commemorate the Pride Months that we're celebrating. We have there are 2 events. One is the Pride flag, and it has gotten so diverse now. It include all the colors, the transgender community, to celebrate marginalized communities. So I looked up, this is a 2018 design, because I keep seeing more and more of these types of like flags. Before we just knew the rainbow, but this is a pride flag. So I'm happy to see it on the walls of our town. It is on the walls of a lot of federal buildings public buildings. You know, we just had in DC had a big Pride event on Saturday. So I'm just happy to see that we are an inclusive community, inclusive of marginalized, inclusive of various race and gender. And also we have a Juneteenth event. And it's also a part of our history that we need to remember about and commemorate and celebrate the end of slavery. So I'm happy we're having events to commemorate these two big, big celebrations this month. And so would like also to invite everybody to come out to be part of the community and Colmar Manor, and also part of our diverse community of people. Thank you.
Keith Brooks, Ward 3. First, I want to give kudos to Ward 1 council member. Malik was able to shoot me some information about an organization that potentially can provide us some playground equipment. So I'm still investigating that at the moment. Also want to shout out to a couple of neighbors who mentioned the homeowners property tax credit. So if you have not already applied for that, I believe the deadline is October for this year. So go ahead and apply for that if you are a homeowner to try to reduce your property taxes. There's also another kudos to the Colmar Manor Bible Church. So they offer a program for 5 to 12-year-olds on Mondays. So it's a great program if you have kids and you need something for them to do on Mondays. Great program. And then finally, I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Williams off of Newark. I see him consistently out there cleaning. That's not his job, but he takes pride in the community that he lives in. So I definitely appreciate that. As far as open items, we talked about the vandalism. I reached out to the code enforcer today, and he's going to try to follow up with the resident regarding a raccoon incident on the 3400 block of 41st Street. Also, we talked about the green team. On that one, they're in the process of trying to create a one-page document for the count to review regarding a potential stormwater coordinator. So we should see that coming down the pipeline fairly soon. The next thing is regarding the budget that we approved the other meeting. One thing I was noticing that obviously there was a discrepancy in the deficit, but maybe tying that to certain performance metrics for the future so that we can do a postmortem and say, well, if we originally budgeted the revenue to be X and it was Y, why the difference and what can we do in the future? There was also a resident that mentioned at Compare Foods, there were 3 food trucks that had started to congregate in the back to try to assess that one. And then finally, yep, that was the last one.
Good evening to all. I just wanted to give a great congratulations to all the citation recipients this evening. Our town would not be able to function without that togetherness to make us stronger. So we appreciate all that you do and all that when we ask for help, that you're available for us. A big thank you to former council member Doug Bowles for his testimony and his citation 2 years ago to put the pride flag up. Without Doug doing that, I don't believe we would be doing raising the flag. And we know there is a lot of work within the port towns. So thank you, Doug Bowles. Also Juneteenth, we definitely, the 16th, like to see everybody, if you're available to come out 6 to 9 o'clock. And today was the last day for PGCPS. So to just be mindful that there will be kids more active in the community because today was the last day of school. So just to keep a lookout, yeah. And that's all. Thank you.
question. I was trying to join the green team online, and I wasn't able to do that. Was it televised or was it available via Zoom or not? Yeah. I thought there was a link included, the Zoom link.
It has been in the past. I don't know that they had it set up for that meeting.
Okay, I sat for 30 minutes thinking maybe there's some issues.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I was doing things, but like I was logged in, I was like, oh, maybe, yes, right. So, but there was a link that I thought there was a link in the email
Yeah.
that and I know we've had them recently, we've had them on Zoom, so people could join on Zoom. So maybe this is something we can do.
It may be, they may have not started it on their
Okay.
end when they were in the meeting. Yeah.
Okay, all right, just, yeah, wanted to mention that.
Thank you. And also, I forgot to mention, so I was doing this last year and I was waiting to restart it again after the retreat that the mayor and council had. It was suggested to me that I should be meeting with our council one-on-one to find out what their priorities are and to figure out how to help them push those ideas, whatever ideas they have forward. And so I want to thank Councilmember Harding, who I've met with, who gave me some great ideas, and part of the conversation, part of that was how we grew into I'm calling it Neighborhood Watch on the Go. So we're inviting, or we're asking Chief Stone, along with any other council member, to walk the streets. So if you see them walking around, they're stopping by to talk to people, ask how everything's going, and then to give you information on events that are happening in town. So we're doing this specifically because I thought it was a great idea, but then we have some events that are coming up that we want to make sure people are aware of. And we're looking to see how far we'll extend this to. So I think it's a fun way to recruit more people to be a part of the Neighborhood Watch. So keep an eye out for Neighborhood Watch on the Go. You'll see Chief Stone, maybe another officer, might see me walking around with another council member. I also met with Councilmember Brooks, and I'm going to be meeting soon with Councilmember Mendoza and Councilmember Hobbs. And hopefully, I'm sure that I'll get some great ideas from Councilmember Hobbs and Councilmember Mendoza that they'd like to share, and we can think of some great projects to kind of push forward. And then I wanted to show, just as a reminder, so we have Baller Tykes. Baller Tykes is a group that has basketball for children ages 2 to 5 to teach them basic basketball skills, and then ages 6 to 8 in our gym. They give a discount to our residents. It doesn't cost much, but if you ever have any difficulty paying for any of the programs, you let us know and we'll figure out how to include you. Money shouldn't be a reason why you don't join a program that the town is hosting. But it's super cute. I'm going to share some pictures now on Zoom, so take a look at the screen now. But they basically learn these skills, they get a snack, and then they have story time. And my daughter is a part of it, and it's just honestly like the cutest thing in the world. Oh, and your nephew is a
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, if you ask them what's the best part, they're like snacks. I get snacks in the end.
Oh gosh, I'm just going to share my Facebook page if I can't find it. In the meantime, I'm going to show you Chief Stone's award. So that's Chief Stone and his award. And then make sure to follow us, follow our Facebook. So I'm going to stop sharing this.
Tell you guys, at this event, somebody ended up passing out.
Yes.
There's, health.
Someone had a medical emergency at the night that he received the award. So he was still on duty.
You can still on duty, definitely.
Where'd they go? Baller Tykes, Baller Tykes. Here we go. So here's one of our Baller Tykes. Super cute. They get a uniform. This is actually Bruce's daughter. And they're going to be doing it again. They're starting it up again, I think like in July or something. Yeah, and then we also are partnering with the Parks and Recs again. So we're going to be having the indoor playground. So if you're looking for a summer camp for the kids, I believe it starts in July for like a month and a half. So they come here Monday to Friday from like 9 to 3. And they do like our art activities, they do sports. So yeah, they get lunch. So please make sure to let your neighbors know. And if you have kids, register them. These are events that are happening in town at our town hall. So please help us spread the word.
Are we offering employment, summer employment for any of the youth in town?
The only summer employment that we have is through Reverend Addison's organization. Yes, we've requested summer employment through them. That's all. I do not believe there was anything budgeted.
So and that's Foundation of Greatness or which one?
No, Reverend Addison. So the End Time Harvest Ministries.
Okay.
But I believe you have to be part of the program to do that.
Okay, so that's the end of the reports. So I'd like to now open it up to resident comments. So just come up to the mic, your name, block you live on, and if you're on Zoom, raise your hand.
As Mr. Williams comes up, Mr. Brooks, we also accept volunteers.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to start off saying, Chief Stone, thank you. Parking has gotten considerably better, and thank you. You deserve an award because of all you do. You do everything in this town, and we appreciate you. I heard somebody mention something about the lighting out here. I know you all are still working on that. Still haven't gotten emails from you yet, but I'll make sure you get my information. I was going to mention the fact of the speed camera on Bladensburg Road, but you already addressed that. So, but I just really want to say thank you, Chief Stone. Doing a great job.
So I think.
Oh, yes, I
So-
do have another question.
But
Last
go-
time I was here, I
but-
mentioned.
But going back to the parking, so do you think the letter worked? Is it because of the letter?
It's because of a lot. The letter did help. It put everybody on notice, and then, but maybe not notice enough because we still did have to issue some citations, and that probably helped more than anything else. And the residents are keeping in touch with us. And we have an ordinance about 48-hour parking, and the residents are letting us know when that is violated, and we'll go out and put a sticker on them. So they're moving.
One other thing, Chief Stone, my block, we had, I guess it was maybe a Saturday or Sunday. My next day, number came running, banging on the door, said he came outside. Little young guys was walking down the street. One was in the driveway across the street. One was beside his car. He yelled at him. He called police. PG came out. My neighbor, Mr. Fiki, on that corner house right there, he now has cameras. So you might want to check with him. They said it was a black truck that was following the guys, because when he yelled at him, one guy ran out of the driveway across the street. The truck pulled down, and they all jumped in the truck and drove off. So that may help you out. Spanish classes. I am still interested. I haven't heard anything.
You and
I'm
me
quite
both.
sure a lot of the residents in this town would love to take Spanish classes because communicating with our neighbors, I think it would be a great idea. I'll be the first to sign up.
Yeah, so you're the first on my list, actually. So I still need to talk to the mayor of Edmonston to see how serious she is. We just passed our budget, and so we are going to be focusing on English classes. But to be honest with you, I'm trying to find ways to raise money for different things. I think the Spanish classes could be one of them. I'm trying to find ways to raise money, possibly have fundraisers so that we can have like a youth council We can have more events for youth. But I think that added on to that could be Spanish classes. I think we just need to figure out where we get the money to have Spanish classes, because I feel like, well, I mean, if we get people that are willing to pay, I don't think that that would be an issue, but the coordinating of it is going to take a little bit. It's not easy to get instructors. It's very difficult. But I didn't forget you. And you for sure are like the first student that's going to be a part of the class.
Thank you very much. I just want to be able to communicate with all my neighbors.
And I want to thank you for bringing all your neighbors to the meetings, because it's you and bringing your neighbors and talking about these issues that creates action, right? So people call me, a lot of the times they'll call me upset, and I tell them, I am not the queen of this town. I work with a team. And so if you have issues, you need to come to these meetings and you need to call the town hall and you need to call the police. So the fact that you were able to bring people here just shows the type of neighbor that you are. So I appreciate you and thank you for bringing people and continue doing it. And I'm still on the lighting and I'm still on the Spanish class.
Thank you very much.
Do you play spades?
Uh,
You do? Do you
Yeah.
play spades?
Do we what?
Do you play spades?
Spades.
Spades.
Spades? No, I play bidwiz.
Ah,
Well,
Mayor
Midwest
Robinson of North Brentwood.
Yeah, and they
plays
have
that.
bidwiz tournament, I'll be here.
Oh, really? Okay, all right,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah, definitely.
okay.
All right.
Thank you,
all.
sir.
Mayor, speaking of, well, now that you speak of funding, I haven't thought about this, but it's something that just crossed my mind as you were talking. We go to a bunch of elected officials fundraiser events for Tilly's, Three Brothers. Why don't we partner with our delegate to see if we could fundraise for some of the things that we want done?
Yes. Let's do it because, well, some fundraising ideas are for me to have like a bingo tournament here, to have bingo again, maybe partner up with a restaurant. I know that I was trying to partner up with Bates to sell raffle tickets to raise some money. So yeah,
Yeah, I say we use our connections. Our delegate has a really good connection with Three Brothers. We can go there and use that restaurant. It has a bar inside. Hey,
Yes. Good evening. Deborah Williams, 4200 block of Newark Road. I just wanted to comment to your point, Mayor, about the loud noises, or I should say music. I also want to mention about the cars that come down that I don't know what this is that they add to their vehicles, if it's boomers, I don't know. But there's vehicles that come down 3 o'clock in the morning down Newark Road and they are loud. And then there's a motorcycle, and I don't know if it's the same person that's doing that, but they're running their motorcycle loudly, okay? And they're just full speed ahead on Newark Road, and this happens just about every night. So I just wanted to mention to your point as well about the loud noises that we hear with the vehicles that come through. Another thing that I would like to just inquire, and I know I might have mentioned this a long time ago. I know it's been well over a year, might be a couple years ago, but when you're talking about, someone mentioned cameras. Is there a program that may come to our town where if you purchase cameras, you can get reimbursed for, just like DC? I think DC has a program where you can, if you purchase cameras security cameras, you can get reimbursed for them.
There's currently nothing in the budget for that. Nothing passed out of the budget. External programs, I don't know anything about that. That sounds like a DC government specific program. Yeah, I've never seen anything in my
But
research.
we can, I mean, we can look into it. I know that, I don't know if it was in DC that for the Nest camera or the Ring, that they would give you like money back or something. I think Prince George's County at some point had something like that.
County, I think, has proposed it and it's pending, but I'll check in to see, A, what the status of that is, and B, whether it'll apply to municipalities. There might be some
Mayor,
issues there.
to add to that, what happened to our negotiation with Lucky or whichever mart down there where they were suggesting giving us cameras and signage for the gate, I mean, the car wash and things like that fell through. Where this,
That was NAI, Michael.
oh, yeah. And that was, yeah,
And
they said no.
they lied to us. So they said that they were gonna give it to us, and then they flat out admitted that they didn't do anything and that they're not gonna do anything. So.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
I'm happy we have that on record.
But just as that was just a question I wanted to raise because if people are concerned and there are some things that are going on around town, that there would be a form of reimbursement. I just wonder if there was, I know that there was nothing in the budget because I've been attending the meetings and whatnot, and seeing what's going on, knowing that our town's in a deficit. I realize all that. But just wondering if there was something that might be proposed, even if it was for the government, that would assist us in some kind of way, if it was state or whatnot. So I just wanted to raise that again. Thank you.
What ward are you in? You're in
I am in
Ward
Ward 3.
3?
Yes.
Okay. I was just asking because my plea to you will remain the same. Run for council because I think you are amazing. That's number one. Number two, if we want some type of car like deterrent for like the noisy cars, maybe you can ask your council member, because that's what we're here for. We're the the council is the legislative body of the town. Ask them to come up with an ordinance to prohibit cars from having those loud mufflers. Other towns have them, we can have them too. And it's not specific to your ward. Any council member can propose it. But I think you're right, and it's something that actually one of the residents has brought up all the time. He brings it up all the time. Kurt Punke always brings up the loud cars, and he's right. Why don't we have a town ordinance around that? So, thank you.
To help you out, Mayor, there's a Prince George County Council unanimously passed Council Bill CB 008-2022-23, the Ayes Agnew Law. Basically, what it does is it requires the county to establish a new private security camera program under a partnership between the Office of Community Relations and Prince George's County Police Department. Eligible residents and businesses will receive a camera, rebate, or voucher to have cameras properly installed and operating at their properties. The maximum amount of a rebate or voucher under the program is $200 for cameras purchased and $100 for subscription costs. Here you go.
See, Ms. Williams, Google is a wonderful thing. Okay, so town administrator, can you follow up on that, please? Thank you. And thank you for your comments.
Good evening. I'm Doug Bowles from 3600 block of 41st Avenue. Mayor, I want to publicly thank you for continuing, as I did on that morning, for continuing the acknowledgement of pride and celebrating LGBTQIA people in this town. It's a beautiful thing, and I can't tell you how much it certainly means to me personally, but I think to all of us in the queer community, it matters a lot to have a community leader who stands behind us in such a solid way. And I also want to say thanks to the council, to Chief Stone, to our town administrator for, walking around town, driving around town. There's a lot of good stuff happening in Colmar Manor. It's exciting to see the cleanup along Dueling Creek. I'm like, every time I go by, I say hallelujah. There's just a lot of beautiful stuff happening. And I just want to say thank you and express that gratitude to all of you for your continued service. I have with me, but I didn't bring it up because I didn't want to scare anyone, a spent bottle rocket that was on my property next to my foundation. And again, I'm thrilled to see that we're staying on top of asking people please not to do this. Where it was found, my partner in crime, David, kind of reasoned it through, and it looks as if it likely landed on my roof and then was rained off. I'm glad that I have some kind of gutter flashing on top, because had it landed in the gutter and hit the leaves there, I could have had a house fire. So I'm happy to show it to you. I sent pictures to Councilmember Brooks and spoke to someone else. It might've been Miss Hobbs. That's frightening. And I've had people say, well, it's normal. People shoot off fireworks on the holidays, but that's possible loss of a home. And so when I'm weighing, do I just accept that this is going to happen, stop complaining, and go find something else to do? I can't feel comfortable going and finding something else to do if something is landing on my house that could burn it down. And in discussing this with my neighbor, he actually expressed that he had been burned by falling debris from fireworks on his neck in that evening as well. And I verified with those around me. So the firework had to have been shot from a pretty good distance because it got up on top of my house, landed there, and then over a few weeks' time with rain and wind landed right next to a wooden fence. So I'm just begging my neighbors. I know that it's fun to celebrate the holidays, but these are incendiary devices that can burn people's homes down and do physical harm. And I'm just asking you to please be considerate. And I was thinking about the parking. I have a thing in front of my house, a little slip of concrete. We have yellow curbs on both ends, which frustrates the neighbors no ends because they really want to park there. There's room for 3 cars in front of my house, for instance, but folks will park in such a way that you can't get 3 cars in there. Chief, I have never seen this in any community, but I was just sitting here thinking, would it be helpful on those short lengths to actually paint markers to like divide the spaces up to show people how to guide their car to help manage that?
It could be. I've seen them, well, you see them in shopping centers and where there's metered parking, they divide them up. I can't think of a residential area have them. Would it be helpful? I think it would be.
Hey, if you want to do it in front of my house, go for it. But anyway, well, thank you again, everybody. I appreciate you and have a great night.
Well, Doug, why don't you come to that map thing that we're doing on the 23rd? It's a Friday night at 7 p.m.
I will if I
Because
can.
I think that's a really good idea. And so like people have been telling me about the sidewalks, right? And the whole issue with sidewalks, and we know that we have sidewalk issues, is that we need to be efficient and strategic with how we handle the issues about our sidewalks. And I think the same is true for our roads. I do think that's a great idea. I'm always cautious with showing favoritism to any one house or one person. And so that's a great idea. I would love to do it in front of your house, but in front of everyone's house.
Yeah, do it all over town.
So I think maybe that's something that we can add to the discussion, right? Because I think those are all really good ideas. The thing that people don't realize though is that these things don't happen overnight, right? So I was speaking to another mayor and I told her, like, I'm getting a lot of grief because people are saying, well, you renovated the town hall. Yes, I did renovate the town hall, not the whole town hall. Our office, because it was disgusting and it was a safety hazard. And because people come and visit us here and we need to have a level of professionalism. And I think that was what? And it took 3 months. However, when I spoke to her about the sidewalks, she's like, girl, that's gonna take you like years. But I think we can't piecemeal this, so we can't address just one space, one sidewalk. We have to be holistic in our approach and strategic, and we will get it done. But we need ideas like this to improve our town. So everyone complains about parking. That idea is an excellent idea. Maybe we don't see it everywhere else. We see it in Colmar Manor. So I think that I'm gonna put that on his to-do list, so it'll happen.
I think some people are trying, they've got nice cars and they're kind of like trying to keep 3 people from parking. But at the same time, some of those folks actually have driveways and you don't have to take up a street space. So it's like, come on, guys, let's just think about each other. We have real limited parking, but, oh, and I had one question. Coming down Newark tonight, there's some electric, it looks like there's electric wires. Are those cable or are they electric? Are they safe? Do we know why they're there? Like at 39th and Newark? Yeah, there's actually 2, Mayor. Yeah. And the wires are coiled at the bottom of the pole, so I assume it's work that they're doing, but it just looks a little scary.
It's the first time that I've seen it, and I live on 39th Avenue, so.
It's Verizon or it's I think it's fiber. Safe. Yes.
It's safe,
Shouldn't
okay.
be out in the street once in a while. It makes its way out there. About 6 months ago, it was a temporary fix. do something, but it's been several months that it's there.
So
Thank
anyways,
you.
keep the excellent ideas coming, because those ideas, people might want to hold them to their chest, but it does no good to us if you hold it to your chest and if you don't work with us. So thank you for sharing your ideas. Nobody else wants to come up and say anything? Thank you.
Hello. I just wanted to ask a quick question to all of y'all, just in case. Do you guys, any of y'all have any to say to us on the behalf of the Compare Foods, anything that we could do to improve or help the community out?
Yes. So okay, yeah, I'm sorry, you weren't here, Ms. Williams. Can you repeat who you are?
My name is Chris. I'm one of the store managers of Compare Foods. I'm representing Roberto Collado that unfortunately couldn't be here.
So there are some things. So one of the things that Roberto had brought up early on when I became mayor was giving a discount to seniors.
Yes.
And so I'd like to continue that. So please take that back to him, that we want to continue offering that. I think we had said 20%, something like that, as a discount for the seniors. So take it back and talk to him about it. Some of the other things that we are looking for is, for instance, CVS sells Town of Colmar Manor t-shirts and hats, and we make no money off of that. So we would like to sell some of our merchandise at Compare and get a percentage of the money from that. The other thing is, I get a lot of residents that complain that the prices are way too high at Compare. And so I know that what Roberto has told me is, hey, we're a supermarket. We're not Aldi. We're not Lidl. We're not Save-A-Lot. If you want to compare us to someone, compare us to Giant, compare us to Shoppers. But I'm still getting complaints from people about the pricing.
So currently, right now, we are working on the lowering our prices as of all the products right now. As far as the discount, we are doing discounts on Tuesdays, which is for the senior discount will be the 10%. But with this information, I could start telling Mr. Roberto we can work on the 20%. And right now, I want to say in front of everybody, just to keep in mind that what he says is true. Since other stores, are chain stores, we're not able to provide as a really, really low price as other stores. We're not able, but we are working on it. We are also working as to having with our providers to be able to give us a reasonable amount of items and prices, so we are able to provide to the public any type of sales and offers, and to keep on the people coming into our store.
That would be awesome. And then it would be great to have you guys come more often to our town meetings. So if you could put it on your calendar to come in September. I'll give you a break for July, but for September, if you come back in September, that would be awesome.
September.
Yeah.
Okay, and I just wanted to mention how I wanted to ask how can we try to work in improvement of the town, of the shopping center, the safety, because it has truly have been a problem. And especially for us, last Thursday, we actually witnessed a crime, but we couldn't do nothing because we reacted late, or else we would have loved to try to help and do something. So apparently in the back of the store where we usually receive all our products, there was this lady that was walking down the street, and there was a truck with no license plate with two gentlemen inside, just pulled out, and they just took all her stuff. And we actually caught it on video, and we didn't know because we were inside, so it was unfortunate. And I was actually in a meeting with one of the wicks, so we can provide the wick option as well as of a purchase. And I tried to call the police, but for me, it was an emergency because there's literally somebody stealing out on the streets, still running around the whole area. And I called, and then they told me, hey, I gotta wait. They put me on a non-emergency line. I waited 20-25 minutes. The lady, we wouldn't know what to do. And then she left. I called back at one second time and I told, what's going on here? Like, how is it possible that this is not treated as an emergency? There's literally somebody out in our town going on a truck with no license plates and trying to steal everybody that's on site. And then after that, like 5 minutes later, we did have a police come in, we showed the video, but that still is a problem. And so we also have been receiving, attempted thefts in our store. As of a personal experience, I have tried to stop multiple of the burglars that try to come in to steal in our store. So our recent one, I guess, was almost a month ago. That was stealing eight detergent bottles, which is worth almost $280 worth of merchandise in that bag. I did point it out on one of the police officers that there was a kid, he's a teenager, probably 17 years old, that would come into the store and he would like see what's going on, how busy it was, so he can call the other people to come in our store. Unfortunately for me, I always suspected something like that happened because it's always weird to me when somebody comes in the store and just looking or just walking around without really, asking for help or looking for certain items. And so eventually I caught up to him and then I told him, I'm sorry, you're not allowed no more in the store. And then the same that day that I'm telling you that this person came in to rob, he came in the store and he started telling me, my homeboys is gonna steal in your store. And, you guys are not gonna do nothing because nobody here does nothing. And I told him, well, man, I'm gonna give you one opportunity. I do not really wanna get involved. I just, listen, you leave the store, that's it, end of it, but he didn't. So then as soon as we saw the person coming in with a big bag of detergents, we stopped them. It was a whole scuffle. I actually damaged some of this thing in the store. And I had my cashiers calling the police. We also, inside of the business, we have another business that they provide any like cell phone repairs, any technology type of stuff. And they also send money to all over the world. I told them, pointing out to call the police. I had this guy hold in for a good 20 minutes. I had him and I started panicking as soon as he told me he had like asthma. So I had him and I let go of him thinking that something was really gonna go wrong with him. But still, in the meantime, everybody was trying to call the police and there's no response. And so unfortunately, I let my guard down, he escaped. So what's concerning for us is the response of the police, because this type of thing doesn't happen only once. It happens twice, 3, 4 times. And that same exact day, later on, the same exact kids would point out these like finger signs of like, I'm not sure if it's like any gang affiliated or anything, but yes, for us, it is a concern. So that's why I'm asking y'all, what can we do to work together or something, or anything that could really provide?
So I just want to point out, this hasn't been fully, what do you want to call it, fully put together yet before the community, but we did receive a grant through the state for the business district specifically. And we've been working with Mr. Lusk and the property owners on putting in high-tech security cameras from different angles also. So, because we know you all have cameras, but
That's
from
right.
different angles too. That's one thing that is going to happen soon. But out of that, and what we've budgeted for, is there was $15,000 in that grant for police officer pay, specifically as it was considered a business liaison, and it was up to us to kind of determine what that was going to look like. But it was $15,000, and we had discussed, Chief Stone and I and Dan Baden, we've all discussed like how that could work. And so I think we've determined, I don't 100% maybe, I think pretty much, yeah, 90 something percent that we could utilize one of our part-time officers. So we've, because of what we budgeted, sort of cut out one of the part-times is utilizing that part-time officer, so we don't lose him, as being able to be the business liaison specifically for this issue. So that they are 100% focused on working in those businesses, finding out what the day-to-day issues are. And so it's kind of like your neighborhood watch, but for the businesses. And having someone actually coordinate that and be there from law enforcement. So that is definitely coming very, very soon. But I'm sorry you had to go through everything you did.
No, it's actually no problem at all. You know, we all try to do our best, and because we also have women that work at the store, and obviously for us, you know, it's our priority to keep their safety, especially for me that I'm in charge of the store. So as a front, like you can see me in the store when I'm there, you always find me on front because I'm always watching and I'm always trying to keep not only the employee safety, but also customer safety. And I also wanted to point out, so when I called 911, their response wasn't as responsive as I would thought. And I also called the Colmar Manor police, and I'm not much as aware how short-staffed or they have a lot of staff as police. But once I called them, they responded, and I told them, I really have an emergency. I need you to come down, please, to the store. And they just told me, nah, I'm busy. So that for me is unacceptable, because we really depend on these officers, especially if most of these officers come to our store, and we're usually very cordial. We also have like a little talk and stuff like that. But we also, as law enforcement, we also depend on them to being responsive with us. And, you know, knowing that this is not, you know, no ordinary call. We call them because we do need an emergency. And that's not, like I said, it's not only for us as employees, it's also for the customer, because no customer wants to walk around the store, you know, knowing that in any point or moment, anything can happen, you know? And I also, not only in my store that this has been happening, but in other stores. So I would point out that maybe you guys want to talk in with any other employees of the other businesses, because I have spoken, because it always intrigues me to really know what's going on. And one of the managers at IHOP that I'm really close with actually told me that the same people were opening cars and stealing any items and robbing at the CVS at some, like they had weapons or any sort. And I'm like, it's crazy, because we did provide a description of these guys and I've seen these people many times. I even know their time, like, cause I'm always there at 7 a.m. That's the time I open. By around 7:30, the same exact kid that would come to our store, I would see him get off the bus and he will walk all the way to McDonald's at around 7:30. Same exact wear, gray hoodie, dreads, tattoos on his face, and he's still running around. So for me, that is a problem, because that's not only for us, but that's whole businesses area.
So share your telephone number with me. I'm gonna give you my cell phone number. So one of the things that we've been trying to do, but it hasn't been easy, is we've been trying to create a stronger relationship with all of the businesses in that shopping area, because we want to meet with them. So a couple months back, Melinda was there. We hosted like a meet and greet. Come and meet the mayor and council members and the chief. And we had one person show up. That's not going to stop me. I'm going to continue having these so that we can meet everybody, all the managers, all the staff. But I need your help. If you already have those existing relationships with people, I need your help. The other thing is, like, let's talk afterwards and we'll talk with the chief. So I'm just gonna throw this out to our community. A lot of the times, one of the complaints that I used to get is, oh, the police officers, I just see them sitting around shopping center doing nothing. And I used to think the same thing until I asked, why are you sitting in a shopping center? And they told me, well, we're sitting in the shopping center to be a deterrent to crime. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So I think that we need to think of a strategy, and we need to talk to you more. And I want you to have a direct link with us
Sure.
for when these things happen.
Mhm. Yeah, that would actually be very good. And I would also I don't want to mention it publicly, but I would actually mention it in a personal once probably this is over. But yeah, this problem still goes more beyond than simple theft and this is it's really a problem. Not only, but like I said, I will mention it once this is over personally with y'all, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, and as a community too, and as a mayor and council, we don't want businesses to leave because of crime.
Mhm.
Like, we want to be here and we want to support our business district, but we also need police, and I can't even believe I'm saying that, but we do. Sorry, chief, but we do. So I'm gonna give you my number and then we'll talk after. But just please, I told Roberto this too, just start coming to these meetings.
Now that I'm one of the persons in charge of the store, I'm more happy to come and join the meetings and any certain personal business meetings, whatever. Because I do truly enjoy working at the store and managing it, and I also enjoy helping out those in need and the community in general. I'm not sure if you'll probably see me in the store. I'm always very, very cordial, very happy, and just very, trying to help everybody as in within my power. So, so, so yeah, I'll be more than happy to join.
Yeah, and Roberto has been a really good partner too. So just knowing that we have both of you there is awesome. So
I
thank
appreciate
you.
Thank you.
So if you had one question, if you had two things
Sure.
that you could ask of us right now that would help your store, your I guess clients, what would those be of the town?
I'm sorry. Can you please repeat that?
If you could name two things that you would like today that you think would help improve your, I guess, situation, what would those be from the town?
So really, I think the town is a great town. I think with everything that has been discussed so far, it seems like there has been really, really great improvements, and I congratulate all of y'all for that. But as far as our store, I think there is a lot of people who is happy with us. And I know and I do understand that there is certain items that could be really, really expensive. But like I said, we are working on those to lower it down and to have any sales and all that. But like I said, I think one of our main things is the security, which is safety most of all, because like I said, it's not only us as employees, but it's also the customer, because what happened last Thursday was to a customer, and it was awful for us to see this woman, because it will scare anybody.
Did that happen? Did you say it would happen behind the store or in front of the
So
store?
like you see how like if you're seeing the front of the store, it's like in the back side. So all the
Mm.
way to your left side, like exiting the parking lot, heading towards Burger King.
Yeah.
So that's our
Oh,
loading
gotcha.
dock.
Yeah.
That's our loading dock. So right there we have corner cameras where it's where you can visibly see how everything happened in that quick moment. And unfortunately, the truck, it was a white truck that had no license plate. So
Can you share that footage with us?
um
Find out. You don't have to answer
I
right now.
could, but I don't have it right now.
Yeah.
But maybe I can send it personally to once,
Yeah.
and then you can share it with the rest, and so
So-
so you can check it out.
So then I have another question because you
Sure.
kind of brought it up. What's up with the food trucks that are parked there by the loading dock?
So actually, those food trucks, well, me personally, I'm not much of aware though. I have seen them, but I will tomorrow discuss those food trucks right there with Mr. Roberto. So we'll see how we go with those trucks.
And tell him I'll follow up with him too, because first off, I saw them and I'm like, oh, this is great. Maybe we can invite them to the Larrissy Park to our events.
Right.
But then I saw one, then I saw two, then I saw three. So now I'm like, what's going on? Especially because I know Mr. Lusk is very particular about about those types of things. So I just wanted to, and I think a resident brought it up too, but I was curious too.
For sure, I will find out tomorrow, and then maybe I will inform you, or probably in the next meeting. I want to thank you for your question, but as far as that, it's only going to be the safety. But as far as any general thing, I think we're pretty good. I'm really positive of the future projects that we have in the store. I'm really excited, and I'm really positive as we're gonna have more customers, and maybe these complaints can lower down or not at all. And yeah, so 55, yeah,
Thank you so much.
you will. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Quick, just to, while you're still there.
Sure, sure.
There's no reason that, I don't know of any reason you should wait so long calling 911. We always say, call 911 in an emergency. I will check into that, what happened on that particular day. The incident that you're speaking of, the person was not accosted or injured. It was actually a theft from auto. Something that we hear of often at the gas stations. It's kind of unusual where and how this happened. It's on the side of the store. And while, you can correct me if I'm wrong, what I had heard was that the people from the vehicle were outside talking, and the bad guys came around and snuck in the other side and took the property and snuck out while the people were there. So no one was injured. But interesting, you talk about police patrols and stuff. They reviewed the video, and guess who drove by just before it happened? Me. So they said that they saw me drive by, but I didn't know that there was about to be a theft. But that there were police patrols from our police in the shopping center. And I know that the management company hires Prince George's County off duty to patrol as well. So you get a lot of patrol out of it.
It was actually very surprising to me, because I've never ever like had a reason to call 911 or like in any sort. So it was technically my first time calling 911, and I was surprised that how the level of professionalism, that it wasn't that much. I was very cordial with this person, and this person just didn't sound like
I'll check.
and then it was concerning to me. And then also when I called in the Colmar Manor police, it also struck me as surprising, because they just told me, nah, I'm busy, I can't.
You called the Colmar Manor Police Department, or you called an officer?
So since we do have some police officers that come in the store, maybe walk around just to see how the area is, they did provide us with a number that would be they told us that would be the police department in general. So it isn't no personal phone number. So I called, and
I'll meet with you tomorrow and see what that number is
sure,
and where it goes.
sure, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments, either on Zoom or in person?
Deborah Williams, Newark Road, 4200 block. To your point again, Mayor, when you asked about the trucks that were in the parking lot and at Shoppers, I'm just wondering, when events take place, I know most of the time it's in Laracy Park. Am I correct with that? So I'm not sure if you saw today at the entrance of the town, there was a stand set up with snowballs. I think a snowball stand.
So I
or-
saw, so Chief, so when I came into town today, I saw like a table next to the bus stop by the Burger
Yes,
King.
ma'am.
And so I called the chief real quick and I said, Chief, can you get someone over there to tell them that they cannot do that? And so I think you sent somebody in. So yeah, I don't want to promote people coming and just selling stuff on the corners. However, if they want to come, and we decide who we allow to sell on the Laracy lot. We discuss it. So for example, you have the car wash guy that is washing cars on the Laracy lot. You have the Blue Iguana who sells Jamaican food there. And then we're gonna have someone selling fruit probably next week or something. So they check in with us and then we give them a
Okay.
permit,
All
but
right, great.
it's not allowed anywhere other than,
Then okay,
Exactly.
thank you. That's what I wanted to know because that was very new to me.
oh, I
And
saw
I
that
had-
and I
right.
saw that and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
chief, what's going on?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much.
All right.
That's also a great thing, especially if it's during business hour, even if it's not business hours, to call and just leave us a message on the main line. If you call in and just hit 0 even after hours to the main phone number and just say, hey, I saw someone selling snowballs at wherever it was, and we can look up, double check on it too, and follow up with it.
So if there are no other comments on Zoom or in person, I just want to say thank you again. Thank you for a great meeting. Thank you for all of the ideas and the support. And I really appreciate everyone that's here tonight. So thank you. And with that, I'd like to request a motion to close the meeting.
I just want to say thank you for the turnout for Ward 3. I appreciate you all coming. This is Keith Brooks. I make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Councilmember Hartnett, second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.